Welcome back, everybody, to the Bad Batch edition of the Fandalorian Club here on Apocalypse Movies. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope everyone is doing absolutely fantastic out there. We are within reach of the finale of season 2 of the Bad Batch. We have 1 week left, 2 episodes, but we are here to talk about the most recent episode 14, Tipping Point. And my goodness, what a tipping point it was. As usual, I got Mr. Brian Avlosina with me here today. Brian, how you doing, man?
Long day. It's a 4-day work week for me, and it's already been long.
You have nothing to complain about.
So much to complain about, though. So much. But yeah, good. Ready to talk some Star Wars for the next hour and a half. So yeah.
Yeah, for those watching who may not know, and also on audio, we record our Bad Batch reviews before we go live for the Mandalorian review. And if you do not see our Mandalorian review, it is up on the channel now. And we had Mr. Andres Cabrera with us yesterday, which was awesome. Absolutely fantastic. I'm talking in future tense, but guess what? It's awesome. I love it. Anyway, we're here to talk Bad Batch. Let's get into it because this is a very, very big episode for multiple reasons. Tipping Point, we finally see an episode that has both the Bad Batch and Crosshair in the same episode. This is the first time in season 2 that those two sides have been in the same episode. It's either been a Bad Batch episode or it's either been a Crosshair episode. And for good reason. It's obviously all going to come together next week in the 2-part finale. But we also get the return of Echo in this one, which is very exciting. Obviously, very, very important and emotional for the Bad Batch. So we get really 2 cool, interesting stories between everything happening with Echo and Pabu and Batch and whatnot, but also Crosshair and him coming to the realization of what he really needs to do. And he makes an ultimate decision that could cost him his life here in the next few episodes. But Brian, initial reactions before we kind of dive into some fine details here. What was your reaction to episode 14?
That this season is way better than season 1, and not way better, but it's really good. And that this,
I think they've had more great episodes than season 1 has.
Yeah, and that this back half especially is like banger after banger, and so it's been fun because I'm not gonna lie, like I was very like, all right, Bad Batch is back when it came back, and now I'm like, should I watch Bad Batch first or should I watch Mando first? It's a couple times. So yeah, love where they're going with this. I think next week's gonna be wild. I honestly might watch Bad Batch before I watch Mando next week.
Well, keep in mind there's 2 of them, so it's an hour.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm genuinely thinking like I'm gonna go for that one first. I'm gonna have to wake up at like 5:30 just to fit in all my Star Wars before work. It's gonna suck, but be awesome at the same time.
I would have to wake up at 4:30 next week.
Whatever. You choose to wake up early.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you don't start work till later. You want to work out and do all those things. But yeah, no, Bad Batch has been great this season. Great. And like you're starting to really care about these characters. And
you didn't care before?
I did, but like even see like little things, it's like, oh no, like just kind of like, I mean, even Crosshair, like you kind of felt for him, even though he's been like a fascist up until like recently. Like seeing him get freaking interrogated by a needle in the neck, and like it's just like, oh no, like yeah, I don't know. This season's been really good, and I'm nervous to see how this ends. I still think Crosshairs might die at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he could have sealed his fate in this episode, making the decision he did. I still hold out, hope that they're going to get him, because it would feel a little odd to not see them back together for at least like a little while. Not to say it couldn't happen, and then he bite the dust, but back to this episode. I mean, it's the storytelling it's off the charts right now. Star Wars TV in general is doing such a great job
Yeah.
of and all the timelines that they're doing. And I know that I'm just speaking on Mando and Batch right now, but they really know how to make us care. Um, and really, like when this series started, right? It was all based on basically what was considered a backdoor pilot for the opening episode of Clone Wars season 7. And everyone going into the series was like, I don't know if I care about them enough to get a full series of episodes and stories with these characters. But over 2 seasons, they have really dived into not just what makes these characters tick, but also the surroundings
I
and
mean, what
the
makes these
emotional.
characters tick?
Sure, tech. There you go. Sure, why not?
It was low hanging fruit, and I had to go for it.
But also like the emotional attachments they have to the things around them, and we really care about what's going to happen to these characters. And like when Mr. D-bag scientist officer is coming in hunting for Omega,
Dude, he's a wild villain.
he is. He's a great villain. He's a great villain for this series specifically. But when
Yes.
he's coming in asking about Omega, all of us are watching like, bro. No, like, nah, that's not happening. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's a rare occasion that, and maybe not in Star Wars, but maybe just in media in general, but it's a rare occasion where we would have such a reaction to that when something happens like that. But that's a testament to how they're telling the story, how they're attaching us to these characters, how we're seeing these characters. Season 2 has been no different. This episode was by far no different. It was fantastic from start to finish. I love what they're doing with it. I can't wait to get into the Echo stuff because I loved it. I loved the Echo stuff.
Yeah.
But the Crosshair stuff was just as good because it's obviously the most important aspect of it all.
Yeah. I think the evil scientist guy.
They gave him a name this episode too.
Yeah.
I gotta find out the episode. Hold on.
He genuinely is one of the most like disturbing Star Wars villains, I feel like, in a long time. Like the way he talks, and it's just like a legit crazy scientist that is like willing to do whatever, whether that's like chop up body parts, like just he just gives you the creeps kind of like when you're watching him talk, and seems to get pleasure out of torture, like especially the gas when he walked in and that one took a deep breath of it and stuff, and he's like, I've been exposed to this for a while, you're just getting, it's like, whoa, like this is like a new kind of Star Wars.
Hemlock.
Well, there you go. That's an evil sounding name right there.
So you know what his ultimate plan is, right, Brian?
I would assume to use Omega for cloning.
So I don't know if this is exact, but I think he's the beginning of Dark Troopers. I think he is going to be like the initial kind of wave of creating Dark Troopers, which then eventually leads to Gideon doing it with Beskar. Because what are they both involved in?
God.
They're both heavily involved in cloning.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Or Snoke.
Please, can we go one episode without bringing up Snoke or Palpatine? Please, just one episode.
Well, I mean, Palpatine, like, I feel does have...
Well, Palpatine's alive right now, so that's a different story.
I know, but I still think Palpatine in some capacity had, like, the second he took power, this is my opinion, second he took power, like, immediately started thinking ahead in the sense of, like, I feel like he's had that.
We saw that in the Clone Wars with the Zillo Beast.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that the Zillo Beast is back, the fact that cloning is still at, even though it's like on the hush hush, like it's still kind of like going around pretty strong. So I think like you sure, I'll give you the Snoke, but I personally think Palpatine has like, and especially seeing Tarkin again this episode.
Wait, so wait, you're saying that you think Palpatine has has a hand in everything that's happening?
Yeah,
I think I never thought that he didn't have control of it all.
that's why I, as much as you hate it, think like like the Snoke thing is just low key kind of like I don't know. I know. No, I don't think that he has the literal like, all right, I'm gonna create Snoke.
No. But
But I'm saying like I do genuinely believe that he is like right now trying to figure out a means to get to that. And that's low key kind of what's happening in the
well,
background.
let's try to go an episode without talking about Snoke because that
Well,
annoys
I
me.
mean, that's legitly how I view it.
I
So
don't.
I'm
Well,
not.
I know the cloning aspect, but I don't think it has anything to do with Snoke right now. Like I think Snoke's a while off, personally.
I know, but in long, yes, I completely agree. But I'm saying it as, in the sense of that Palpatine clearly is trying to find some way of cloning a force sensitive person in the background.
Oh, I never thought that was a question.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean.
Because of Mando, obviously, and them with Grogu, everything with Grogu. So.
Exactly, and in the long run, it results in Snoke. As much as
No,
you hate it,
that's fine. But Snoke's not.
that's all I mean in comparison. Like
Oh
I
no,
don't
I knew that. I know that.
yeah.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't think
Like
Snoke's gonna just like walk in and be like, "What's up, everyone?" Like it's just no. I just think that this is a very long woven thread that at the
yeah,
end the knot
it
is
goes up until he dies with Return of the Jedi. We know from
exactly
books and stories that cloning is Palpatine's priority number one. Like
yeah.
he creates bases around the galaxy. You know, just for those who didn't read the books, maybe watching, which I doubt that's the case, but essentially what happens in canon outside of the movies and television, Palpatine for let's just put a number on it and say 30 years, 35 years, essentially creates cloning facilities and bases around the galaxy on desolate planets where he can rise again. And we saw it in was it Battlefront 2?
Oh.
With what's her name? Who's the main character of Battlefront 2?
Are you talking Inferno Squad?
Well, yeah, but who's the main character?
Oh my god, that's gonna drive me nuts.
We look like absolute morons right now.
No, well, who thought we were gonna end up in Inferno Squad?
The reason why I brought it up is because what is her name?
It's
Iden Versio.
Iden.
So in Battlefront 2, we see Palpatine's dead at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We see a hologram version of we see a hologram version of him rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
So cloning is a whole thing with Palpatine from the second he becomes Chancellor to the second he dies. Like it's just a gigantic thing. Anyway, back to the Bad Batch, everybody.
Which also I will say to kind of tie this back in, low key, do think that the reason they're bringing the clones to Mount Tannis is to experiment on them for
no question.
So
that's why that's specifically why they want 99.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of like the super version of them.
Yeah.
I
mean, it is very, I know we went off on a tangent that goes to 7, 8, 9, but it is kind of cool. Like, even if it's small little like breadcrumbs to think that this is now being set up as far as like episode 2 and 3 to something that happens so far away.
30 years in the future, basically.
Yeah. So it is
I'm putting a number on because it's 20 years between 3 and 4, roughly 10 years between 4 and 6 ish. No exact date. I mean, there might be an exact date out there, but anyway, all right, Brian, we have like 5 minutes left now because we went off on a tangent, but
it's all relevant.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about Echo. And I don't know if you knew this, But did you see the Rebels cameo in this episode?
No, I might have missed it because I watched it at work. So
Clone Trooper Gregor was in this episode.
oh yes, yes, yes. Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
Who
yes.
is obviously one of Rex's
Yeah.
He's Rex, Wolf, and Gregor are the 3 that we meet in Rebels down
Yes.
the line.
I could
They
tell
are
by
the
the
3
voice.
remaining clones. And unfortunately we don't see Gregor past a certain point.
Yeah.
But he was in this episode, which means either he escaped or Rex rescued him, which
Mhm.
I obviously lean a little bit towards the latter. We also get Fireball, which is one of the coolest clone names of all time.
Mhm.
Also a super cool helmet. But yeah, and look, we number of episodes ago we saw Echo go off with Rex and like I need to do this for myself. I got to help my brothers, etc. Because unlike the Bad Batch, Echo was originally a normal clone.
Yeah.
Like those, like he fought alongside like those, rather where the Bad Batch were kind of outcasted doing their own little thing. So it meant a lot more to him than it did someone like Hunter or Tech or Wrecker. It was just really nice to see, no matter how short-lived it was very nice to see what they were doing and
Yeah.
how they were doing it.
It made sense. And I'm glad it wasn't for like this super long period of time.
I didn't
Like,
need a full episode of it.
yeah. And it was a good amount of time between like, okay, oh no, he's gone, to like, oh, okay, now he's back. Like it didn't feel like it was like, oh, they're trying to make us sad that he's gone. And then the next episode, it's like, oh, he's back. Like, you know, like it was a good amount of time. And like when you saw him, you're like, oh yeah, Echo's back, like type feeling.
Well, I love that he was leading a group, and he was commanding it. He was kind of pulling the punches, which obviously makes sense. He's very experienced. Like we mentioned, the Gregor cameo was great. Seeing Hauser was awesome. It's such, again, another cool clone name. I love the clone names. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But also we got a fun little sequence of Omega learning how to fly, which is awesome.
So hard,
but putting her and Tech together is the best
Yes.
part. Like obviously Tech is the flyer. He's the one controlling the
So
ship
funny.
out of the 3 of them. And he's obviously the one who is kind of the most like freaky deaky about things. And you put a 12 to 14-year-old in the seat of a pretty important ship.
Yeah.
I'd be holding on for dear life as well.
Like,
But I do love when he gave her the okay to do the Tech move, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like that, but I like the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love the part where she goes, the alarm didn't go off this time. He's like, that's because you broke it last time. Like,
I love the sequence. I thought it was fantastic. I love that Hunter's just like watching like a proud dad, but also being like, yeah, I'm torturing Tech right now.
Yeah.
It's 100% what he was thinking.
Yeah. I love that Tech is getting so much screen. He was my favorite from the beginning. So it's like seeing the dorky guy with glasses get tortured basically by this little girl. It's enjoyable. This show is doing real. I mean, Star Wars animation, we talk about all the time. It just, there's nothing compared to it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I know we're going to get our hearts ripped out next week, and I'm just dreading it. I feel like something is just going to gut punch us. I just feel it. Because that bad guy is too...
Hemlock?
Yeah. He's just
so obviously they're trying to get information from Crosshair, and we only have a few minutes, but they're trying to get information from Crosshair to find out where the Bad Batch are. I got the feeling after this episode that the Bad Batch are going to go to them.
Oh, 100%. Because like, Crosshair genuinely doesn't know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he know, like, and I mean, he did say, like, you might not know where they are, but you know how to get a hold of them, which ended up being happening. He sent out that message and they picked it up and whatever. So, yeah, no, they're for sure going to go to him. 100%.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to track wherever that transmission came from, or use the data that Echo was able to get from the ship to find out where they are taking the clones. Either way, it looks like the finale is going to be taking place on Mount Tantus, which I think is the best place for it. I think it was hyped up in season 1 from the very beginning, and it just makes sense for the finale to be taking place there. So
I think we're going to get our clone rebellion.
I hope so.
I think
so.
so. I
Can't
think
wait to
that
see
we're
it.
going to realize how many clones are in the mountain, and then it's just going to be like a all out, like,
Yeah.
wild thing. If I had to throw my prediction in the hat, like, I would assume they're going to go there, stage like a mass jailbreak, and it's just going to be this like clone rebellion type thing. So
I would agree.
That's what I would put my guess at.
All right, everybody. Well, this will be our last recorded review of the Bad Batch season 2. We're going to be doing it live next week because it's the finale. It's a double whammy. Brian and I will be live on Thursday. We're not going to be able to do it on Wednesday because of Mando, obviously.
Unless we absolutely can't wait.
Unless we absolutely can't wait, which it very well could change. It very well could change. So
with Jake and I,
so right now, tentative Thursday evening is when you will see this at not this time. 6 o'clock Pacific is our normal time for the Fandalorian Club. It'll be for both episodes. The finale will be discussing season 2 in its entirety. But if it ends up being on Wednesday, we will keep you guys updated. Follow our Discord, join the Discord because we keep all the information there for everybody that is there. Obviously on Twitter as well. We'll be posting stuff. And then, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can obviously see when things get posted to go live and all that type of stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all. Hope you guys are enjoying Bad Batch. Make sure you also check out our Mandalorian edition of the Fandalorian Club, which is every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific. It's myself and Brian and a guest every single Wednesday. But for now, hope you guys are enjoying Bad Batch. Have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.